You're watching State of Play, a quick fire round of all things Irish football and beyond. Coming up, it's Keane versus Pep, it's Hayes versus Eidevall, and Damien Duff. He says the League of Ireland's the leading light of Irish football, not the national team. Do you agree? It's coming up on the State of Play. David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast. And as always, if you like what you hear, love what you see, hit that QR button or subscribe button, QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. And finally, if you want opinion, we're back. We have the website. It's lansandroar.ie. That is lansandroar.ie. Head over there for news and opinion. We got a great team of writers here. We got James, we got Bill, we got Connor, we got Nick, we have me. Martin, he can't be arsed. Well, that's because he can't string two sentences together. Isn't that right, Martin? How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Dave. Thank you for your kind welcome. Lovely. Very nice Easter weekend I had, Dave. And I'd like to correct the misinformation you put out to our listeners and viewers. I was not on the piss the weekend at all. Okay.
He was, but anyway.
I wasn't. Family time.
You and Nick both.
I had a very enjoyable weekend. It was very, very nice.
Yeah, and you know,
I was at the sorry, I know I go on about Enfield Town a lot on this, right? But I was at the A10 Classico on Monday. The A10 Classico, a local derby, Enfield Town against Cheshunt, local rivals. A good crowd for non-league, 1,271. I like to think of myself as the one in that crowd. And yeah, very enjoyable. 3-0 win for Enfield Town. Good fun. I'm trying to influence a bit, get a bit of Irish influence in there as well. So I'll have the Lansdowne Roar posters sneakily put up in the bar. It's been done in stadiums before, Dave, as you know. It can happen again.
Well, that was we little did we know that those people were going to do that with those posters. That's another subject. So what's the A10 Classic? You know, when I get a Mars bar or something. Is it the Londis Derby? Is it?
Listen, it's Isthmian League. Very, very good fun. Great fun day.
What's it? Budgeons, is it? Is it a Budgeons derby? Is it a bit of a posh area?
It's not league, Dave. It's grassroots. That's what I'm about. I told you that.
Yeah,
it's not about millionaires. It's making friends, not millionaires. I think that's one of the taglines of the leagues. And
I thought that's
non-league.
I thought that was what we do here. We make friends, we're not millionaires. God, actually, speaking of making friends, we do have a new little thing going that we launched for the live, and that is. We are Irish football's most interactive podcast. When we go live, we let you have your say and all that jazz. But also now we have a little email. Here you go. So if you want to write into the show, it's pod@lansandroar.ie, pod@lansandroar.ie. If you just want to write in and tell me how brilliant I am and how much we don't need Martin. And if you also want to tell us, I don't know, a story. Even write a song, Martin. Bit of poetry. What you reckon, eh?
Oh yeah, we want to hear your stories as Irish fans. Like we're match going fans, and every time I get together with Irish fans, we all just seem to reminisce in the pub. I've often said, Dave, going to the football's a distraction. People like to just reminisce and have a crack and remember the good trips and all that kind of stuff. So
Martin gets reminisce in the pub, except dickhead over here is in the stadium doing all the work.
Yeah,
well, you're off connection. With Milan, well, yeah, no, to be fair, that is, I mean, Martin is off doing this sort of nonsense with John O'Shea and all that and getting his face out there. And I'm
on the ground working hard. I'm getting exclusives there. I'm getting exclusive information.
Working hard, Martin. Yeah, working out right.
Exclusive information. I'm getting the vibe from. It's like, do you remember years ago the FA Cup final day and you had a whole build up? Didn't you, on BBC? It was brilliant, and you
and
went
ITV
to the hotel,
as well.
You had breakfast, and then they done it's a knockout. We can't really mention that. Didn't he get imprisoned? The lad who presented that.
Which one?
Yeah, exactly. I think they had it's a royal knockout once, didn't they? That was. We can't go there either. We can't talk about royals. And
very sweaty.
Yeah. God, yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Basically, I'm not only that nonsense, but I'm on the ground. I'm around the team hotel often. And
far from the team hotel.
I met Jason, one of the Raw faithful, recently. I'm sure he'd be delighted. We're giving him another shout out on the show. But it's just
paying you or something.
Yeah,
no, it is, and we do love our Raw faithful. Anyway, that's enough self-flatuation. Is that how you say that?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know. It's late.
You deserve it. That's an old joke, but still.
Oh no. Come on now. We're positive now. We're full of good energy, and it's April and it's a new month, and I feel you know, I feel good, Martin. I feel really, really good. And actually feel really good because your boy got called out. This is the main topic of the show. Pep Guardiola fires back at Roy Keane. Of course, Man City drew 0-0 at home to Arsenal. Great result if you're a Liverpool fan, just saying. And Keane went on Sky. We don't have the clip now because we'll get the show taken off the air. But Keane did talk about Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Now we know Roy has a bit of a situation with his dad. But anyway, so that's what he had to say about Haaland on Sky Sports. He said, in front of goal, he's the best in the world. However, his general play is like a League Two player. Pep responded to that in the press conference. He said, I don't agree with him. Absolutely not. It's like saying Keane, is like a second or third division manager. I mean, he is a second or third division manager, Martin, isn't he, Roy Keane, your boy?
He was in the Premier League, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
But there you go.
That was in a championship, though. So he is
good, though. I mean, look,
yeah,
we know Roy's box office, and yeah, I kind of agree with Roy. Surprise, surprise, on the Haaland thing, because you know we're all football fans and stuff, but you know he should be so much better than he is. I know he scores goals and he's phenomenal when he's on form, but yeah, King's not the first player to or pundit to flag up, you know, his link up play and how he does what he does on the pitch. I mean, I know he's important for goals, and I kind of think about how Van Nistelrooy used to play for Man United and deadly in front of goal, and famously only scored one goal for United outside of the box, didn't he? So you can be judged on goals as a striker, but the way City play, he does have to be a little bit better with that. And we saw it this season, Dave. Roy was proved right. Didn't start Haaland, started Foden. He got a hat-trick. Well done, Roy. You've probably gifted Man City the championship now with that result, because I think they'll kick on now and beat Arsenal and Liverpool to the title.
Thank you for that. I had to get a bit in. Yeah, I did actually know. I did see footage of Haaland. It sort of went a little bit viral on Twitter, where Haaland, you know, they're doing the
warm-up thing when he's the bounce pass. Yeah, awful.
It's absolutely dreadful. Like really, really bad. I mean,
some players though are they're like that in warm-ups. You know, like Tevez. You know how he played years ago. He bombed around. He was notoriously an awful trainer. Like, you know, not everyone is at it in every part of the game. But
do you think that will affect Haaland? Do you think that'll affect Haaland when he gets older? When he loses that physicality because he's what 20? How old is he? 24.
24. Yeah. He's not. You know, he's a fantastic player.
23.
Like, he's a world-class player, but he's.
No, he's world class. What he does.
He's not. Yeah, he's not one of the most technically proficient players I've ever seen.
He's 23, and to be fair to Roy Keane, he did actually say that like it will get better. His all-round play, it kind of has to, because he's 23, he's banging the goals. People are trying to work him out, and he is unplayable on his day. But you know how coaches are; they adapt, they nullify, and that's when you get older, injuries, that kind of thing. You need to sort of add more strings to your bow, don't you? You have to add more to your game. You know, you had to diversify a little bit. Remember Ronaldo? He was told that if he wanted to score goals in English football, he had to learn how to head the ball. Of course, he'd come, from Portugal, where it's all played in the ground. I think, what was it? He discovered, he watched Alan Shearer, wasn't he? He watched videos of Alan Shearer. He was a master header of the ball, and he used to go to training with ankle weights on to get up.
Spring and stuff, yeah,
incredible stuff. So I'm not saying he needs to head the ball, but you can change your game.
You know what's really interesting on this, and I know we are kind of chatting a bit technically now about football and stuff, but
here we go.
I forgot to mention this. John O'Shea mentioned something about Evan Ferguson, right? About how we need to get him in certain positions in front of the posts, basically. That is something Man United did when the season after Ronaldo left. I think Rooney had his best scoring season for ages when he was the centre forward, and Man United deliberately said to him, focus on just being in front of the post, in front of in the box, and you'll score more goals. Where are you going to score from? And I know it sounds very basic, but I thought it was very interesting. John O'Shea coming through Man United and then mentioned that in regards to Evan. I did mean to mention that obviously over the last few weeks, but I forgot. But I thought it was very interesting that was mentioned. And Yeah, that's what Evan. I mean, Evan didn't play tonight. I think he might have been injured in the game tonight. Before the game, I think it was Brentford Brighton tonight. But
he was injured. Who was the guy who? Oh, he played under Aldo. Your mate Aldo, lovely man, actually, gentleman, John Aldridge at Tranmere when he was manager. And you talk about like, we're getting technical, and things are a bit rudimentary, a bit basic. But football is a very basic game sometimes. And I can't remember the player, but he turned around and he was struggling. And of course, Aldo was a natural goal scorer. And he said, "How do you do it?" And he goes, "I just run between the defenders." I said, "What?" So I just run between the defenders, just find a gap between the defenders and just go there.
Yeah.
And he had something like his highest goal scoring seasons there. Ryan, a good friend of mine, actually told me that story. I can't remember who the player was. If anyone out there is watching, just lashing in the comments. But football can be that basic sometimes. You go, wow, I never realized that. And then, where were you 20 years ago? But yeah, so
I mean, Pep was very spiky though, innit? Because he was asked about.
Oh, he's always bloody spiky, isn't he?
Oh, Mr. Klopp. Anyway,
Ferguson, yeah.
Yeah.
I love you, Alex. Have we got the picture of you like trying to give Ferguson a blowjob?
Do we have that on the recording anymore? That kind of filth, and do we have to, are you going to apologise?
No.
No. Yeah. No, but you've thrown me a course with that filth now. Well, my point completely.
Good. You want to hear this fellow off camera?
Yeah, I don't even know what I was going to say now. You really have thrown me. That's very disappointing. That.
Yeah, actually, you have a very guilty face on you there, Matt. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, you're on about Pep.
Oh yeah, Pep, and it was Jack Grealish. And you know how he was. He obviously in this interview the other day, post match, pre-match, obviously for tonight's game, and he was asked about why he chose to do that kind of didn't really give him a dressing down, Grealish, but he started telling him something tactically at the end of the game. It's quite notable, when the players all come on the pitch and the management at the end, and he started making a point to him, and he was just very dismissive of the journalist, saying, "Yeah, I do that for my ego, and that's because I know you're filming me and all this kind of stuff." It's quite funny. I thought it went a bit viral. How he responded.
I don't understand why he does that on the pitch, though. Like why?
Yeah, I don't agree with it either. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
But anyway, on that bombshell, we're going to move it on actually to another bit of managerial conduct on the pitch. Emma Hayes, of course, the Chelsea manager. She brought a bit of attention to herself. It was a League Cup final between Arsenal women and Chelsea women. Arsenal women regained the League Cup. I think it's a Conti Cup. God. Yeah. Say that 4 times backwards. So the Conti League Cup, Arsenal won at 1-0. Basically, it was a little bit of a hullabaloo at the end, as you can see here. The Arsenal manager, Jonas, I imagine it was Jonas Eidevall. Yeah, there he is. There, Emma Hayes shakes hands with Emma Hayes, and then Emma Hayes pushes him, and she was asked to, expand. Why did you push him? And she said, "Oh well, I've got the quote here actually." Sorry, bear with me a second. Not down for male aggression behavior on the touchline, is what she said. So male aggression, doesn't want to make a massive story about it, but you will, she said to the press afterwards. So male aggression, so she shoves the guy. What did you make of that, Martin?
Yeah, obviously I've seen it when it went viral and stuff, and fair play. Congratulations to Kate McCabe winning the trophy with Arsenal there. Nice to see, of course.
Don't touch the question. Well. Don't touch the question.
No, but Emma Hayes clearly under pressure as a manager. She's going for the quadruple. She's failed with one of them already. Very good manager overall. Let's not forget.
It's got to America at the end as well.
But that was outrageous. If it was the other way around, we wouldn't hear the end of that, and it would be massive uproar on that completely. And yeah, look, it's just not acceptable. If we saw that between two, we have seen it again. Two Premier League managers have kind of. I remember Martin Yole years ago, wasn't it? Remember he had the kind of spat with someone, didn't he? And we know Pardew obviously with Myler, which you mentioned on the last show. I don't know, why don't you like David Myler? I don't know, but it was interesting though to see that, and it has happened in the men's game, as I said. But yeah, it's not acceptable, and I think I just think you can't have it both ways. If it had been the other way round, it would be uproar and he would be banned without a doubt.
Do you know what I don't like about it? That she said male aggression.
Yeah.
Male aggression. So you're weaponizing it. Why not just say, yeah, he was being a bit of an arsehole on the touchline? Then I go, yeah, fair enough, because he's known for that. Jonas, he's very sort of, he got a yellow card, I think, and she said, oh, he should have got a red card for his antics and stuff. So he's one of those, and you get a lot of football anyway. Klopp does it, Pep does it, Fergie did it. He'd be screaming and roaring. Well, actually, no, he never got a yellow card, did he? Because Fergie had refs in his pocket. But it was all this sort of. He did. Let's be honest. There's a lot of pressure on there. But why is it male aggression? I don't like that. And somebody wrote, I think it was in, a paper article, I think it was from the Telegraph, and it was from the Independent, and he said that if he had said, and it was a female that had written it, that if he had said, here was it, Sarah Mockford, but yeah, if Jonas had said Emma Hayes has been too emotional on the touchline, there would have been absolute uproar, because all women and their hormones and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I think she has to be called out, and I think it's bang out of order. Okay, yeah, the guy's been an arsehole, so yeah, he's been an arsehole. But to labelize it and weaponize it, oh, it's male aggression. You're like, hold on a second, and then you shove him at the end of it. So no, I didn't like it.
Yeah, no, I didn't like it. I wonder, will Katie McCabe, as Ireland captain, be asked anything about that in the press conferences she's bound to do now in the lead up to the international games? Obviously, Ireland women are taking on France on Friday, and then England at the Aviva in a few days as well. Big games coming up for them. But I wonder, will she be asked about it? I did see a fantastic clip. I really like the women's national team, the kind of media stuff they do. Like, I know it's a different kind of department.
Martin is now trying to get on the good side of the argument now, because he's
lanyard. Yeah, no, I did see. I thought it was very funny. So I was going to ask you this question, Dave, especially after Easter egg season. Is that something? Easter egg weekend. Easter
right,
weekend.
Easter.
You told me the last time, I think one of the many voice notes you sent me, I think you told me you were going off to get yourself an Easter egg. Anyway, so I hope you did.
I actually did.
This is something, obviously the Irish women team are sponsored by Cadbury. It's not Cadbury's, it's Cadbury. Okay. Which is your favorite chocolate? That was a question that the women don't answer. Just have a little think for a while, because the women were asked that, and it was very interactive and entertaining as they came out. But what I loved, is well worth a watch. I will share it from the Twitter account. But what was very funny was Katie McCabe was being asked. I don't know if they all got the kind of memo that it to kind of probably name Cadbury chocolates, not some Tiffin and things like that, and some of the other ones who perhaps weren't all Cadbury. But one of the funny things was she was there doing her little bit and answering the question, and one of the girls came behind her. I think it might have been Grace Maloney, I'm not sure, but one of them went, "Oh, Conti Cup winner, Conti Cup winner." I thought it was very funny and a good little bit of a piss take. I did like it. Yeah, it was very good. But yeah, very entertaining little clip that. But yeah, so Dave, what's your favourite chocolate?
That's Cadbury.
No, but all right. Oh, please give me a lanyard and chocolate.
No, it is Cadbury.
Chocolate bar. Well, dairy milk.
Love a Golden Crisp. That's a chocolate bar. That's a chocolate bar in Ireland, Martin. I know you're not aware of it.
I know Golden Crisp. Yeah, this was again. I'm not the women's little thing. People were mentioning Tiffin, Mint Crisp, all those ones.
No, I honestly,
Golden Crisp is class. Yeah,
it is class. I didn't actually know that was an Irish chocolate bar until I went into Cyber Candy of Covent Garden. I think it's gone now. Actually, it was like the first big American, candy shop before the money laundering stuff going on, and London now, and they have them all over the place, don't they? Like loads of about 2 people inside buying them. Anyway, and and I remember I saw under Ireland, I thought it was all the set. It was like it was Golden Crisp. And, oh yeah, quality bar. Munchies are so underrated. Munchies, I think that's Nestle. Do you know what I tend to do? I tend to buy 2 lots. But you asked me the question.
Oh, I know. If anyone listens into this little 1 minute bit, they go, "What the hell is this doing?"
Football? Anyway. You should listen. You might learn something. But basically, I tend to go with a Cadbury Easter egg and a Mars one, or whatever, and a Nestle. I'll try to get one of each.
Ah, right, yeah.
Mix it up. But Easter egg chocolate. There's nothing like it, is there? Come on.
No,
imagine you had an Alex Ferguson one. God, it wouldn't last 2 seconds, would it?
I'll tell you what. Geez,
the kids licking it and everything. You would.
No, I do like Ferrero Rocher. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you class.
Posh. Yeah,
posh wanker.
And geez, the second abusive.
Listen, this is the state of play. This was we're not live.
Yeah,
pal. This is what we do.
Yeah. What else? No, you know what? Is it? What's the one? The blacks chocolate? You know they took recently, haven't they? Green and black. Yeah, that. Yeah. The ginger dark chocolate. I love ginger. Not you though.
Oh, I bet you love a little Alex Ferguson chocolate, little like figurine, wouldn't you? No. Love you, Sir Alex.
Did you remember when
wife coming in, chocolate all over the bed?
Do you remember when Tato done a cheese and onion chocolate bar?
Yeah, it was actually weird. It was
weird, wasn't it? But it was all right.
Yeah.
They brought that
out. I like chocolate. I eat a lot of dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate because it's kind of good for you, isn't it? Lint.
Yeah.
There you go, Mr. Posh. The other one though
Ferrero Rocher. I will say this: Ferrero Rocher is class. Actually, that is like.
But then they started messing around with it, didn't they? Making different things.
Yeah, but you still have Ferrero Rocher, Martin. Don't let us spoil it for yourself. Okay, right. We better go because we've probably lost all the listeners now. Anyway, I thought Hayes was bang out of order, and and
it was more about chocolate than we did about Hayes. Anyway, completely out of order, and so that's it.
Bang out of order.
Big games as well with the women coming up. So good luck to them, and hope they do well. And
speaking of being a bit out of order, go on.
I was going to ask you a question. Sorry about the women's team. Very low profile, isn't it? And do you think that is a deliberate kind of thing they're doing? That we've done well getting to the World Cup, and they've got big games coming up, and they're obviously trying to sell tickets for both of them, and obviously because they've done the Swedish and England as a duo deal at one stage, and they've backtracked and they've gone individual for that. But I just think it's very, very low profile, and it's like, do you think perhaps some of the Irish public kind of fallen out of love or interest with the Irish team, maybe as a result of the Vera Pauw kind of stuff, or I just don't know. Like, I just think it's very low profile, and like
it just seems to be over Irish international football as a whole. I think with the two senior squads, it just seems to be a massive cloud. One case you had the manager, unceremoniously kind of fired by the FAI, a contract not renewed, and there was a dark cloud, wasn't with Vera Pauw, who'd done really well. And then obviously you had the whole situation with Keane and the national team. It was actually going to take us, this could actually take us into a little segue into our next topic we're going to talk about. But yeah, I just think, like, when I was over last week, I just thought there was nothing with any Irish player. Like, the Ballygown bottle had the rugby players on it. There was nobody flogging any merchandise. Jack Tarrant was Opal Cadet. It was nothing like that. And I think it's all just very... I think international football has sort of been run into the ground a little bit. That's a quote from a mate of mine who said, that's what's happening at the moment. And I agree. And I do think it's very low profile. I think there's just so much stuff going off the pitch that it's very hard to get engaged in it. I find, like, we do our best here, but I don't know. Maybe I'm going on a bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think it's mad. Like, I just think of how well they did get into the World Cup and what a fantastic World Cup they had.
But then the manager,
but then it was overshadowed, and you've still got this uncertainty with the management role with the men's senior team, and even the pathway and things. And it does segue actually really I mean, it's just a whole mess, isn't it? And I think people are losing faith with it. And I just think it was very low profile. Like, they're going off to some big games coming up, trying to qualify. And
does that give credence to what this man said, Damien Duff? You see the photograph. It is actually Damien Duff. So this is what he had to say. The leading light of Irish football is not the national team, but the league itself. And Damien Duff looking like some Elflin Finches, actually. There was actually something from the Scottish Sun. He said, former Celtic coach and Ireland international, unrecognisable, and he had that picture of him from when he was at Celtic, when he still looked like He doesn't look like Damien Duff anymore, does he? Like he actually doesn't. Like Jesus Christ, look at him there. I mean, fair play to him. Shelbourne's sitting at the top of the League of Ireland.
Yeah, doing really well with them. But I mean, like you say, John O'Shea looks like a manager. Jesus, he doesn't. I don't know. People get offended by this kind of woke brigade if I say he doesn't really look like a manager there, does he? Just a bit. I thought he looked quite dishevelled. Like he's not representative of your club, is he? In a sense, and look, he's doing really well. We're judging him on the football, and what he's doing management wise, and he's a big profile. Like, I think I saw you. I think you tweeted today, or you shared something. Everything Damien Duff's, multimillionaire. I would imagine he's coming at it from not self-serving, is he? He's not giving a shit about his profile and stuff. He's doing it like he did when he used to hire a power league and go training, and how he used to get up early and coach under 15s.
I'll say this about, and then we'll talk about what you said, but I'll say this about him: like he's real. Like what I mean is he is into that. He has plugged himself into the league, and he looks like he's plugged himself into a socket. But anyway, he looks like he has plugged himself into that league. He is in that. He is living that. I say, I don't want to cast aspersions. I say he's probably a nightmare to live with at home. He'd probably admit that himself. But he's just like, he's intense. He's grumpy. He looks like he's going to have a heart attack. He really wants to do it. That's why he can never, in my opinion, ever be Ireland manager, because Jesus, like, I mean, he's aged. It's the league of, I don't want to be disparaging towards the league, but like, can you imagine him in a Premier League club where there's billions of pounds resting on your shoulders? But he believes in it.
Yeah, he's super invested into it, and fair play to him for that, because you need a profile to kind of raise the profile of the league, and he's there. I mean, he is, dare I say it, what Robbie Keane could probably be doing in Irish football. We've often been critical of Robbie in a way of choices he's made, and how, some people will argue that he took money out of the FAI, and that's a debate for another day. But this guy, okay, he's earning money there, Duffer, but he doesn't need it. Let's be honest. He's doing everything. I think, what we're hearing and reading from him, and how he promoted himself. I mean, I said on the podcast before that I've been on a coaching seminar thing with him, and he was telling us about how he was approaching it very much in the mode of Mourinho. So that's where I think his investment is into it. Like he knows you've got to do the job 100%. Very like Roy Keane in a way. Just
but you can actually manage. What do you think though of his comment? I mean, you've got a little thing there on your name. Enough of Duff, but what do you think of his comment there that the leading light of Irish football is not the national team but the league itself? I think he's right, Martin. I mean, we can't really say he's not after saying what we just said going into it. The League of Ireland is cooking, and the national team is squandering.
I like my little. It's a bit in jest where I say I'm enough of Duff.
Look at you rowing back now.
No, it's not rowing back. Honestly, it's not. Look, when people who listen to the podcast may be surprised by what I say next, we actually do a bit of preparation for this. one of the notes I made, right, is I'd like to kind of, I think he's just aware of the harsh reality of Irish football and where it's come from and where it is. Yeah. And internationally, as we just said there about the women's team and the men's team, we're at an all-time low, really, despite, like, okay, the women's team will pick up again, and the kind of clamour and support of it and what they did was amazing, but I think it has been tarnished a little bit. The men's team, we want them to do well as well. Underage doing okay, and there are players coming through. But he's given the harsh reality of the academy system, and that's where you're going to be getting players from. And knowing as well that the Brexit thing is a big thing of players not able to go over as early. So this is going to be a kind of narrative that's going to come from a lot of the ex-pros. I've heard Steve Ward say this. John Walters has said this. Remember, he was involved in Waterford for a very short time as well. So the lads are involved in Irish football. I say lads, they're the former players who, represented Ireland, and they're all involved in like management roles or coaching roles underage. So that is the harsh reality of it that Duff is kind of setting out. I would like to kind of, I think, he said about one other thing he has clarified. It wasn't a dig really at Irish football and the senior team, because he said he was happily take a text, didn't he, or message or call people if they wanted him to clarify his comments, because he says he's an Irish fan overall. But I think the trust in that pathway that Mark Canham set out, I'd be very, very interested, because Damien Duff said he had a little conversation with someone about the senior job, But if Duff's so invested in Irish football, clearly League of Ireland, I would like to have thought that the FAI have consulted with him as they have with other interested parties on the pathway, and is this the way we should be going? Because he's a powerful voice, and he's been in it under 15s of Shamrock Rovers. Like he's brought through those players and things. So and he's a name. That's the thing. It's a profile. He's
a big name.
I mean, if he was more out there himself, and like as a personality of a pundit in a way. Well, I know he does the punditry but stuff, but more like if he had more of a presence in England, or like a Beckham in a sense. That's what Beckham's doing in America in a way, but he's not putting himself out there though, not the supermodel wife and stuff. He wants a simple kind of life, I suppose. But like you said, I'd bet he's a nightmare to live with, because
because he
is fighting against everything though. Like it comes down to money, sadly, and that profile has to be he's right when he's coming out with the government as well. He criticised the Casement Park money, didn't he? The 50 million, saying this. What's the point of that?
Yeah, although I mean, but to be fair though, that money would have gone to that stadium regardless, because that was from a Northern Ireland fund, so that's going to infrastructure. So it just happens to go into that. But anyway, listen, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, Martin. Thank you very much for watching as well. As always, if you like what you see, love what you hear, scan the QR code, hit that subscribe button, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. And of course, we now have the website. That is lansandroar.ie. That is www.lansandroar.ie. Please head over to that and check out our website. And don't forget to hit a cheeky subscribe and a like to this video here on YouTube, because it really does help. Anyway, I'm David Dunn. He's Martin Prendergast. This is State of Play, and we're out of here. Good night. God bless, and come on, you boys in green. Why not?